Hi everyone, I'm Sébastien Begri. As a little bit about my own history as an entrepreneur and pioneer in the cannabis industry. So I've been working in this industry since 2007 as I start as an activist while doing my master thesis in Holland. And I created the first medical cannabis association for patients in France. We made 8 conferences along the consecutive years with conferences in the Faculty of Medicine in Strasbourg, in Paris. And as I finished my master's, which I specialized into cannabis, as I was sponsored with Bedrocan. Bedrocan is the first medical cannabis license producer in Europe, based in the Netherlands. And so at the end of my master, I got to know about all the active compounds, especially the cannabinoids in the plant. And that's where I actually got into the CBD, cannabidiol, which at that time was a less known cannabinoid, as the main cannabinoids known as the THC, tetrahydrocannabidiol. And so I got the idea back in the days that as this compound is found dominantly into the hemp, technical cannabis, which is legal to be grown in Europe without any license. So that's when I start my journey as an entrepreneur to develop products based on this cannabidiol, that CBD. And so that comes to 2013, where I had my first hemp cultivation in the south of France, in Provence. I think, and I truly believe I was the first one to actually cultivate hemp plant in the marijuana fashion, meaning that the purpose of the cultivation was for the flower and not for the seeds or the fiber, which is the most commonly parts being used as an industry. And so from 2013, as I harvest my first CBD cannabis plantation, I got in touch with some extractors in Czech Republic, in Prague. And that was the beginning of my journey as an entrepreneur in the CBD industry. And as a result, in 2014, in December, I was ready with a new development of a CBD vape product, which is called CannaVape. And probably you have heard about this case study, because basically as we made the launch in France, we made a big national conferences, and there was like all the national media in France to actually talk about this new hemp vaporizer. Luckily or unfortunately, what happened is that I was so controversial as bringing like a legal cannabis product for vaping on the market that pretty quickly, after 1 hour after the press conference, the media went directly to the Ministry of Health in France, at the French Parliament, to ask directly the minister what does she think. At the time was a lady. What does she think about this new product? Of course, the way they presented, they say, "What do you think about this first legal e-joint?" And that brought straight away a huge polemic, with the minister coming out of her rage about this auspicious product coming out, which gave me a visit of the police 3 months later. And from 2015 until 2021, I've been fighting the French government for the right of CBD, which ended up me going to the highest court of justice in Europe, so the European Court of Justice, to defend the fact that CBD is not a narcotic, is a legal compound, and by such can be legally be used in products such as vape or other CBD derivated products like oil, capsules, and so on. So in 2021, after 7 years, I got a positive outcome. So I was found innocent at the end, and that actually brought some prejudice law on the whole European government, European territory, the Schengen zone, to be more precise, which created a legal frame for all European member states to be able to produce and sell CBD products legally from the whole plant. And I'm very happy to see that today this industry grew to €1 billion industry in Europe. There's been like many developments in every different European country, where people were able not only to develop new activities through cannabis, but also to be able to deliver products that will benefit to the people with different ailments. So we also did work with doctors in that frame. And as I go along in my journey, one point that's really I was really interested since my young age is the connection with cannabis and human society in general. As I was listening to reggae music, doing skateboard when I was 15 years old, I got very intrigued by the message of Peter Tosh in his song Legalize It, where he actually mentioned about cannabis being beneficial for asthma, for glaucoma, for multiple sclerosis, and so on. And that got me really curious as a youth to really understand what is behind this plant, what is the benefit of this plant. So that's why I did all my study and master, which brought me to this CBD product development. But as I go along, I was also curious to find the deeper connection. So from the musical content with reggae music, they talk about this plant as the healing of the nation, but also on the other side, as a boy from Marseille in France, where we have also this underground culture, skateboarding, hip-hop, reggae, surfboarding, and so on. We do have in our city, Marseille, the main street name called La Canebière. And La Canebière in Provençal, so local patois, it does mean the hemp field. So I grew up in the city with the main street name called the Hemp Fields, listening to Rasta music, telling about cannabis is good for humans. So that got me also interesting as passionate about the history behind this plant, where if you dig a little bit and invite you to make your research, you will see that in the early 20th centuries, there's been some conglomerate toward the prohibition of cannabis, with the cannabis prohibition in the US, the marijuana prohibition, which brought today's mindset of people thinking the plant is evil and it's all associated with really bad stigma. And this was done during this early 20th century through propaganda campaigns. So we have some documentary called The Reefer Madness. I invite you to have a look. Or The Assassin of the Youth. So those were the title of those short movie video that they were making at the time, which completely evilize, if I can say like this, the plant. But on the other side, as I looked more into the history, I could see that not only in Marseille, but all around France, all around Europe, and actually all around the world, you can find always, before the 20th centuries, some deep connection where people were actually using the plant in an everyday basis. So for example, if people know the lamp oil, so before people were able to light up themselves at night through not candle, but through a light that was filled with oil. And the oil mainly used was actually cannabis hemp oil seeds. It's one press, and then from this you get, just like olive oil, you get your olive from the hemp seeds. And that was the main source of lightning during night in the domestic use, meaning that a lot of writers back in the days, they could not have written it without the use of cannabis. So that's actually an interesting correlation. But not only this, we can also find like for building ship back in the days before the invention of vapor motors, when all ship were sailing. To build a sailing ship, it is necessary to have around 60 tons of hemp fiber to build the sails, to build the rope, even to build the uniform of the sailors. And on this investigation, what really drew my attention and was very, very surprising is that it turned out that in Japan, in their traditional religion called Shinto, there is this connection where they do have cannabis as a vehicle to protect against evil. So here's my problem, where I found that on the one side, the American Big Brother prohibit the plant, saying it's the most evilish plant on earth. And on the other side, you see Japan, which is a very conservative society, where actually smoking cannabis is very much prohibited. But they do have in their folklore, religion, practice, some connection with cannabis, saying that it's actually a godlike plant protecting against evil. So I went into this investigation as I've been approached the past years by a Japanese group that I'm working with, and I had the chance to travel to Japan in May 2024. And during my journey, so I went to Tokyo, I met my business partner, I also met some friend of mine, activists in cannabis, who are promoting this ancient history. And this is what I'm going to tell you all around these videos, like what I've experienced and the person I've encountered and the funny anecdote and interesting history that I was able to gather. So I will invite you to follow the next episode on my first week in Tokyo, diving into the traditional use of cannabis in Japan. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to click the like button and subscribe to the channel because gonna be some interesting story coming up. Thank you and see you on the next episode.